Hello again. It feels kind of awkward to say that because this could be your first time here, but I don't know. Welcome back to Idiot Mystic. Today we're doing Lucid Dreaming Part 3. The first lucid dreaming episode was about how to wake up inside the dream. Inside the dream, we talked about dream journals, reality checks, mild, wild, wake back to bed, and all the other methods that make sleep sound like something you can get from the App Store. Part 2 was about what happens after you become lucid, how to stay in the dream, how to stabilize it, how to talk to dream characters, how to deal with false awakenings, nightmares, sleep paralysis, and those weird moments when the dream stops feeling like a playground and starts feeling like somewhere you don't want to be. Today, I want to attempt to go one level deeper, because I think the weirdest thing about lucid dreaming is that eventually it stops being only about dreams. At first, you're wondering, can I wake up while I'm asleep? But after a while, you start wondering if you're awake when you're awake. That's what this episode is really about. I like to look at lucid dreaming as a training ground for waking life. Yes, you can do backflips through a dream portal, but you can also notice the dreamlike quality of your own habits, reactions, cravings, and moods, because you can be fully awake, drinking coffee, answering texts, paying bills, doing normal things, and still be living inside a private projection. You are awake, but your nervous system is dreaming. Maybe it dreams that you're in danger because someone took too long to reply. Maybe it dreams your whole life is falling apart because one thing you didn't go well. Maybe it dreams that a person's tone means they hate you. Maybe it dreams that a memory from 10 years ago is happening again, right now. Maybe it dreams that you're still the same person you were when you were hurt, embarrassed, rejected, or afraid. And I think the crazy part is that most of the time we believe it. I think I believe in stories, and for some reason, all of the big drama that comes with uncontrolled emotions. Then usually later, when I calm down, I realize that I wasn't really seeing things clearly. That's a false awakening during the day. You thought you were awake, but you were inside a pattern. So as odd as it may sound, today we're talking about waking lucidity. How to become lucid while you're living your actual life. And I promise I'll try to make this practical, unlike some of the other things I present you with. Sorry, I'm not going to spend 40 minutes telling you that reality is a dream in a weird voice while a gong plays in the background. Though that could be a pretty good sound bath. But I don't know, I always feel overpowering. But I guess that all depends on the gonger, or the gong hitter, gong player. Anyway, let's try to get into it, if I can stop talking about gong. Such a strange word, gong. Okay. Anyway, the first thing lucid dreaming teaches you is that the mind can create a world and then forget that it created it. That is basically what a normal dream is. You're standing in a mall that also happens to be your grandmother's house. A man with no face hands you a sandwich, but you know it's actually your dad. Your third grade teacher is there, but now she's also Taylor Swift. You accept all of this completely. Inside the dream, it makes sense, and that's the important part. The dream doesn't feel ridiculous while you're in it. It feels like reality. And only when you wake up do you think, why did I believe that that was real? The answer is annoyingly simple. because you were dreaming. But waking life has its own version of this. Like when you're in an emotional state and suddenly the story around it feels 100% true. Maybe, or like when you feel anxious, the future becomes dangerous. Or if you feel ashamed, then the past becomes some kind of proof that you're defective. Or when we feel lonely, everyone else's life starts looking so full and meaningful. Or, for me, worst of all, you feel angry, so every detail becomes evidence in the case you're building against someone. It's usually someone you love. Or, I didn't even mention feeling ignored, but usually when that happens, your mind starts pulling old receipts from 2014. What a crazy year. Anyway, while it's happening, it all feels real. Then the state passes, and you realize you were looking through a filter. And that doesn't mean the feeling was fake. Of course, feelings are real experiences, but they're not always accurate. I think this is one of the most useful things lucid dreaming can teach you. In a dream, you can become aware of the dream without immediately destroying it. In waking life, you can become aware of a thought, a mood, or a reaction without immediately obeying it. Without immediately obeying it. That is waking lucidity. A thought, craving, or fear appears. All you do is notice it. The whole nervous system starts loading an old program, and for 1 second, you realize, wait, I've been here before. And that 1 second is where everything happens. That 1 second is like your reality check. In lucid dreaming, a reality check is something you do to test whether you're dreaming. You look at your hands, you try reading text twice, you check a clock, you pinch your nose and see if you can still breathe. In waking life, the reality check is different. You ask, what state am I in right now? That is one of the most useful questions I know, because most bad decisions are not made from reality. They're usually made from a state. You could be hungry, scared, jealous, lonely, tired, even ego bruised. These are all the states that our decisions come from. Maybe even a state where you got 3 hours of sleep. We've all been there. So the first waking reality check is simple. Just ask, what state am I in? If the answer is tired, don't make major life decisions. If the answer is angry, don't send the paragraph. If the answer is lonely, don't text the person who turns your nervous system into a haunted house. If the answer is ashamed, don't believe every conclusion your mind is offering you. Your current state is not your identity. It's just something temporary. The problem is that most of us make permanent decisions inside this temporary state. Lucid dreaming trains you to notice the environment, but waking lucidity trains you to notice the state. Here's like a practical version. 3 times a day, pause and ask, what state am I in? What story is this state telling? Do I need to act right now? That last question will save you from so many stupid decisions. Not all decisions. We're still human, but a lot of them. The second thing lucid dreaming teaches you is that dream signs matter. In a dream sign is something that shows up often enough that it can help you become lucid. Maybe you often dream about being back in school. Maybe your phone never works. Maybe your teeth fall out. Maybe you keep ending up in airports, old houses, malls, or bathrooms with no doors, which is apparently one of the mind's favorite horror franchises. When you notice these patterns, you can use them as triggers. Oh, this again. I might be dreaming. When you see them and recognize them, you realize you might be dreaming. Waking life also has dream signs. These are recurring patterns that tell you are about to fall asleep into an old version of yourself. One of my waking dream signs is getting pulled into the numbers. Views, plays, performance. One moment I'm making something because I care about it. The next moment I'm looking at numbers like they're going to tell me whether I'm a real person. That's a dream sign. When I catch it, I realize this is the part where I get confused. That doesn't mean I ignore the numbers. I'm sure they're useful, but when I become hypnotized by them, I lose the thread. Another waking dream sign might be the urge to argue with someone in your head. Let's say you're making tea, and suddenly you're in a full courtroom drama with someone who isn't there. You deliver the perfect line. They finally understand. Everyone applauds. In real life, usually I'm just standing in the kitchen, holding my coffee spoon like an angry wizard in his underwear. That is a waking dream. Catch it. Another dream sign is doom scrolling. You open your phone for one thing, then suddenly 20 minutes are gone. Your posture looks like a question mark, and your soul feels like it just got stomped. You were awake, technically, but attention was gone. Another one is self-pity. This one is super sneaky. Self-pity can feel so profound while you're inside it. You start building a whole tragic identity around being misunderstood, cursed, uniquely burdened, or whatever the flavor is. Some of it might be based on real pain, and I guess in my case that's what makes it convincing. But then the mind starts making a home there. It goes to IKEA, it decorates, installs lighting. It starts calling the suffering my truth. That's dangerous. A truth can become a prison if you never update it. So make a list of your waking dream signs. Try not to make it dramatic. Just notice what pulls you out of presence. I can give you some examples. I feel like it's going to be a long list, but here we go. Checking analytics too much would be one. Replaying old arguments. Imagining future disasters. Definitely comparing yourself to people online. Maybe looking for excessive reassurance. Scrolling when you're tired. Assuming that silence means rejection. Getting irritated by tiny things when your body just needs food. And my favorite one. Feeling the sudden need to fix your entire life at midnight. That last one is pretty common though. I think the midnight life audit is one of the least reliable spiritual experiences I've ever had. If your mind tells you at 12:47 a.m. that everything is broken and you need to reinvent yourself immediately, just write it down and go to sleep. The goose can wait until morning. Sorry, wrong series. But if you get it, you get it. That was funny for me. What am I even saying? Anyway, the third thing lucid dreaming teaches you is that fear changes when you face it directly. In a nightmare, fear keeps you running. A monster chases you, a shadow follows you, something crazy appears in the room. You want to escape. But in a lucid dream, if you remember that you're dreaming, you may be able to stop and turn around. That moment is so powerful, because the thing you were running from may change once you stop running. It might shrink, it might speak, it might even become something else. Sometimes it stays scary, but your relationship to it changes. I think waking life works this way too. Many of our fears get stronger because we refuse to look at them clearly. We run from the feeling. We distract, avoid, numb ourselves, and overthink. We ask everyone else what they think because we don't want to sit with what we already know. I think the fear becomes much larger in the dark. Waking lucidity doesn't make the fear completely disappear. I think it just means you stop letting fear control everything while you're pretending it's wisdom. And there is a very practical way to do this. When a fear appears, just name it plainly. Say that I'm afraid of being rejected. I'm afraid this work doesn't matter. I'm afraid I'm behind. I'm afraid I'll be misunderstood. I'm afraid this pain will never end. I'm afraid I'm not who I thought I was. Maybe that was too much for me to say. Whoa. Okay. Got collecting myself. Almost. I do think naming fear reduces its ability to disguise itself as logic. Fear is a cosplayer. It shows up as planning, realism, perfection, or even just someone saying they're being careful. Sometimes caution is real, but a lot of the time it's just fear. You learn the difference by looking directly. This is also where meditation comes in. Meditation is basically practicing lucidity while awake. You sit down, you notice the breath, then within 6 seconds your mind is somewhere else. It could be planning, judging, creating imaginary arguments, thinking about someone you haven't seen in years. Then you notice. That is the practice. The noticing is not failure. The noticing is literally the whole thing. People think meditation means staying perfectly focused. I think that's like thinking exercise means never getting tired. The moment you notice you were lost, you have returned. That return is lucidity. You were dreaming in thought, then you woke up a little, then you drifted again, then you woke up again. And that is the training. A lot of people quit meditation because they think having thoughts means they're bad at it. That's like quitting the gym because the weights were heavy. The resistance is the practice. Your mind wanders because that's what minds do. The value is recognizing it and coming back without turning it into a huge personal tragedy. Lucid dreaming, meditation, prayer, and self-observation all have this in common. They help you see what normally sees through you. That sentence sounds maybe a little mystical, but I think it's clear enough. Usually, thoughts think us, moods move us, stories wear us. A practice like this gives you enough space to see them. I mean, it's not going to be perfect or permanent, but maybe just enough. And that is freedom. Even though it's a small amount, it's real freedom. And I just wanted to get back to false awakenings for a second, because I think they might be the best metaphor for this whole episode. A false awakening is when you dream that you woke up. You're in your room, you check your phone, you get up, you begin your day. Then something is off. The room is wrong. The phone doesn't work. Your dog is 6 feet tall. Maybe there's a doorway where there shouldn't be one. And then you realize you're dreaming. This happens in waking life all the time. You think you've moved on from something, but you're still reacting from it. You think you forgave someone, but you're still having imaginary arguments with them. You might think you're being productive, but you're avoiding one difficult thing by completing 10 easier things. You think you're being spiritual, but you're actually trying to become too holy to feel human pain. I feel called out. I'm sorry. I think I was talking about myself. You think you're being honest, but you're just being cruel with better vocabulary. You think you're resting, but you're scrolling until your nervous system becomes soup. Not the good kind. False awakening. You woke up, but not all the way. This is why I like the phrase, wake up again. You don't wake up once. You wake up again and again and again. During the day, you realize you have been lost in a thought. Wake up again. You catch yourself about to react from an old wound. Wake up again. You notice you're trying to earn love by being useful. Wake up again. You realize you've been performing a version of yourself for people who aren't even paying attention. Wake up again. You don't need a big announcement or have to move a mountain. You don't have to change your name to something new and start dressing different. Just wake up inside the moment you're actually in. That's enough for now. There is also a darker side to lucid dreaming that is worth mentioning. Some people, including me in the past, especially when I was younger, use it to escape. That makes sense. Dreams can be amazing. You can fly, you can meet people you miss, you can feel powerful in a way you don't feel during the day. If waking life feels painful, boring, or heavy, the dream world can become very tempting. I understand that. I also think the point of lucid dreaming should be to make you more alive when you wake up. If the practice makes you less present, less grounded, less interested in your responsibilities, or less connected to people, something may be off. The dream should feed waking life, and waking life should feed the dream. There has to be a relationship between them. If you only chase the dream, you might become one of those people who can explain the astral planes, but can't answer a text from their mother. That doesn't sound like enlightenment to me. Lucid dreaming can open strange doors, but you still have to be a decent person when you wake up. You have to make breakfast, you have to call people back, you have to pray if you want, do your work, clean the room, take your medicine if you need medicine, drink water. Be kind to the body that is carrying you through all these mystical experiences. The dream body is super interesting, but the physical body definitely still matters. This is where bringing in spiritual traditions can help. A lot of traditions took dreams seriously. There are true dreams, confused dreams, dreams from the self, dreams from fear, dreams from whatever you ate before bed, probably. I'm obviously simplifying. The point is that dreams are not treated as meaningless garbage. At the same time, we are warned against becoming reckless with interpretation. That balance is healthy. Respect dreams. You can respect dreams and not worship them. You can learn from symbols, but not build your entire life around that one dream where a crow told you to start a podcast about mushrooms. Unless the podcast was going to be good, then maybe. I should have listened to the crow. Anyway, Tibetan dream yoga also treats dreaming as a serious practice. The basic idea, as I understand it, is that recognizing the dream as dream can help train recognition of the mind's projections more broadly. Now, I'm not pretending I'm an expert in Tibetan dream yoga, but I just find it interesting that across cultures, people have noticed something similar. Dreaming is not just random entertainment. It can be used as a training ground for awareness. Of course, the Sufi-ish angle, without mixing everything into a spiritual smoothie, would be that human beings often live behind veils. We don't see reality directly. We see through ego, desire, memory, longing, and imagination. A practice helps polish perception, and it can help you see more honestly. Maybe not perfectly, but definitely more honestly. And I think that's more than enough. Now I want to give a practical, I was going to say framework, but I've noticed people say that word a lot, so let's talk about how to do it. If you want to use lucid dreaming part 3 style, meaning both night practice and waking lucidity, here's a simple 7-day experiment. And if you want to try it, you might have to listen to it again and write it down, but you could try it. Day 1. Write down your dreams when you wake up, even if you remember only one image. Don't make it complicated. It could be a house, a dog, blue light, argument with a stranger. That is enough. During the day, write down 3 waking dream signs, patterns that pull you out of your presence. You don't have to judge them, just notice them and write them down. Day 2. Do 3 reality checks during the day. Actually ask yourself, am I dreaming? Then add the waking version. What state am I in right now? You don't have to answer with a long essay, just tired, anxious, calm, good, whatever comes to mind. Day 3. Before bed, set a simple intention. If I dream tonight, I want to remember. That's it. During the day, catch one emotional reaction before acting on it. Even if you still act later, pause first. That pause is the practice for day 3. Day 4. Choose one recurring life pattern and treat it like a dream sign. For example, checking your phone when you feel uncomfortable. Every time you notice it, say, "This is a dream sign." Obviously not because your life is fake, but because you're catching yourself on autopilot. Day 5. Meditate for 5 minutes. Just 5. Notice the breath. When the mind wanders, return. That's it. You don't have to levitate or become a bronze statue of peace. Just keep coming back to your thoughts for 5 minutes. Day 6. If you become lucid in a dream, ask one question. What should I pay attention to? If you don't become lucid, no problem. Ask the same question during the day. Then pay attention to what comes up. Day 7. Review the week. Look at your dreams. Look at your waking dream signs. Ask yourself, where did I become more aware? That is the win. Not having the most cinematic lucid dream, or meeting a spirit guide, or flying over a neon pyramid. The win is increased awareness. If you do this seriously, you may start noticing how repetitive the mind is. That can be very humbling. I know I like to think we are these complex, original, mysterious beings, but then when I watch my mind for a week, I realize it has like 19 songs on repeat. It's always the same playlist. Fear song, desire song, regret song, revenge fantasy song, everyone is ahead of me song. I should have said something different in 2018 song. My body feels so weird, so maybe I'm dying song. This is a classic album, by the way. The point isn't to hate the songs though. It's just to stop thinking that these are the only songs available. Lucidity gives you options. In a dream, once you realize you're dreaming, you don't have to follow the script. In a waking life, once you realize you're inside a pattern, you don't have to complete it. You can choose something else, something small, like a breath or a walk or a prayer or a different sentence or sleep, or maybe even just a less dramatic interpretation. That last one is massive. Sometimes spiritual growth is choosing the less dramatic interpretation. Someone didn't reply. Maybe they're busy. Your video got low views. Maybe the title needs work. You feel off today? Maybe you need rest. Not every feeling is a prophecy, and not every delay is a rejection. The mind loves drama, and awareness introduces the possibility of being boring in a very healthy way. And honestly, especially in my experience, being boring can save your life. there's one more thing I want to say about waking lucidity. It doesn't make you emotionless. That's a common misunderstanding. Being aware doesn't mean you stop feeling. It just means you stop being completely swallowed by every feeling. You can feel sadness and no sadness is here. You can feel anger and no anger is here. That little "is here" is what's important in those sentences. It gives us space. Instead of "I'm ruined," it becomes "ruined feeling is here." Instead of "I'm worthless," it becomes "worthless thought is here." I'm not just playing around with words. This actually changes your relationship to the experience. A dream is still intense after you become lucid. The colors, characters, and fear might still be there, but now you know what it is, and that knowing changes the whole field. Waking life is so similar. You don't have to destroy any of your feelings, you just have to become lucid inside them. And that's a very different kind of freedom because it's not flashy. Nobody is going to make a viral clip out of you almost reacting badly and then choosing to breathe. But that's the real practice. That's the spiritual work in the middle of actual life. It's not just in temples or in dreams. It's literally in your kitchen or in traffic or at school, or the moment before you respond horribly to one of your parents or family members. I think that's where waking lucidity can really change your life. So where does this leave us? Lucid Dreaming Part 1 asked, can you wake up inside the dream? Part 2 asked, what do you do once you are there? Part 3 asks, can the dream teach you how to wake up here? That's the real value. The dream is not only a place you visit at night, it's also a mirror for how consciousness works. As above, so below. As within, so without. The mind creates worlds. It believes them. It gets lost. Then sometimes, by grace, God, training, or accident, it remembers, oh, this is a dream. Oh, this is a thought. Oh, this is an old fear. Oh, I've said "oh" a lot of times, so I'm gonna stop. I was gonna say this is a state and this is not the whole of reality, but I said "oh" too many times. That remembering is precious. It may not last long, and that's okay. You remember it again and again and again. That is the practice. I didn't expect part 3 to be this long, but before I close, I want to give you a few questions to take with you. I know it's not the most exciting thing. I wish I had cupcakes or something. You could use these during the day, maybe before you sleep, and maybe even write them in a dream journal if you want. First, what are my dream signs in waking life? Second, what state do I keep mistaking for truth? Third, what fear am I running from that might change if I turn toward it? Fourth, where am I technically awake, but not really present? Fifth, what would it mean to wake up one more time today? These are simple questions, but they're also very annoying if you answer honestly. And I guess that's how you know they're useful. Thanks for being here with me today. This was Lucid Dreaming Part 3. If the first episode was the doorway, and the second episode was learning how to move around inside the dream, this one is about bringing the practice back into the day. This one is about integration. So tonight, if you dream, try to remember, tomorrow, when you wake up, try to keep remembering, and at some random point during the day, when you're caught in a mood, a scroll, a memory, a fear, a loop, or a story that suddenly feels too real, ask yourself, am I awake right now? Not as a joke, not as a cute spiritual line. Actually ask. Then look around. Feel your body. Notice the state. Take one breath. That may be enough to open a small door. Until next time, sleep well, wake up gently, and please, if your dream character tells you to start a business, maybe wait until morning before making any decisions. Please. I've done the opposite before and it didn't go too well. Bye.